Good evening. Our top story tonight is breaking. A potentially groundbreaking project could become a reality in just a couple of months.
Yeah, William, and in a week of twists and turns, aldermen were back at the table with a development worth up to $430 million.
Chances are you've probably heard of it by now. It's Colman Yards, which will revitalize the blighted buildings of Barber Colman off South Main and create spots for several businesses, an event space, and at least 300 apartments, but could go up to 1,000.
In breaking tonight, that project looked to be on life support until 14th Ward Alderman Mark Bonney filed the motion to reconsider, saying every ward needed a voice, specifically for 7th Ward Alderwoman Janessa Wilkins, who was absent for last week's vote. She cast the pivotal vote tonight on the labor agreement, deadlocking council 7-7. Mayor Tom McNamara broke the tie, nixing the project labor agreement. It's exactly the opposite of what Bonney voted for and supported both tonight and last week, but said he still stands by the motion.
Although the outcome changed, I guess I was committed overall to democracy and good government.
The new vote sparking what some say is a turning point in Rockford's history, investing at a scale never seen on Rockford's west side.
That was a point a lot of people brought up tonight. And this overall project did eventually pass unanimously after that deadlock project labor agreement failed. But while support is widespread, there are still scars and burnt bridges after a passionate week of arguing, perhaps none more watched than the one with developer Jay Jeffers.
And to the Southwest Ward, this is a game changer.
The facts from both sides were the same, but the emotions seen last Monday were not. Even as a monumental vote was flipped on its head, potentially giving Barber Colman new life, the scars from last week took up most of the conversation.
Members of last week's prevailing side knew the risk as well, but they killed this project because they thought they could, and that will never sit well with me.
So please don't insult me by saying that if this project was on the east side, I'd view any different. My viewpoints on this particular item have nothing to do with the geography of the city.
The vote for the labor agreement was deadlocked 7-7 before Mayor Tom McNamara looked to strike a note of unity as he broke the tie and voted down the labor agreement, which got loud cheers from some in attendance.
Say we are far more connected and closer on this issue than I really believe the debate has led us to. So I think we're stronger when we as a community are together. And I will say, Clerk, my vote on this is no for the PLA mandate.
There was a lot of unity from that vote forward, as all 14 aldermen backed that development agreement with Jay Jeffers without a mandated labor agreement. But some aldermen still have questions, especially when it comes to Jay Jeffers eventually striking a deal with the unions.
I will be looking to see if the developer was being truthful and does ultimately execute an agreement with our building trades, or whether it turns out that the developer statements were false.
Negotiations that will have to happen with a potential start date for Colman Yards looming just weeks away.
So they're talking 30 to 60 days was what they said earlier last week, and so I'm going to go up and call them and see if we can still meet those timelines.
That very absent voice, it is from the Jay Jeffers team. None of them were at tonight's meeting, but we will continue to reach out to them to see if their timeline is still intact.
And with City Council giving the green light to the development agreement, let's go over what will happen next. While the full project is worth up to $430 million, only $170 million is guaranteed. That starts with Phase 1A, which could start within the next 2 months. People could be moving into those apartments by sometime next year. And Phase 1B, building additional housing, would start in January of 2025. The timing of everything else for Phase 2 is unknown as to when or if it would break ground or not.